Let's get physical. It's Jordan here, back again with this week's update on all the physical releases coming to the Nintendo Switch. We're in the final week of September 28th until October 2nd. Yeah, a little bit of crossover. Retail low print imports plus our community spotlight where you show off your pickups and potentially win a physical Switch game. Later on, we will find out the winner of September's prize, Super Trench Attack from Pixel Heart. We'll be announcing the winner later on, as well as our second giveaway, 2 codes for the fun action puzzle platformer Georifters. Stay tuned. Alright, let's take a look. Umihara Kawase Bazooka is releasing this week. This is already out in Japan, it has been so a while, but is making its way to Western shores this week. This is a party action game as multiple players compete in single screen stages using the infamous physics the series has to offer. Gotta be honest, this has not grabbed my attention since I prefer the level structure of the mainline games, but I don't know, it could be interesting enough. Yeah, I'm not convincing, am I? Untitled Goose Game is honking its way to the Nintendo Switch physically this week. It's been a long time coming. The game released digitally over a year ago now and took the world by storm. Can't help but feel this is a little bit late in riding the hype. There's a free update coming on that will pump up interest back into the series. Sadly, that's not included on the cartridge and needs to be downloaded. I think if this came out like 2 months after the digital release, I'd have been all over this, but now I don't really care, to be honest. Maybe I'll pick it up if I can find it cheap. Warborn is the long-delayed release for this interesting indie strategy game from P-Cube. Releasing digitally quite a while back, this one instantly grabbed my attention due to its similarity to Super Robot Wars, pretty much the indie version. And the emphasis is definitely on the indie side, as it doesn't hold much of a candle to the Bandai Namco legends, but it was made by just like a handful of people, so give it some props. I think strategy fans will want to take a look at this one. Hidden Objects Collection is a trash-looking game that one would probably get for their auntie on Christmas, if your auntie had a Switch, which she probably doesn't. In which case, point her towards those games on Facebook, if those Facebook games are still a thing. I don't know. Let's Sing Queen is the first time that I've mentioned a Let's Sing game in this series, despite there being like a million of them, but I did catch this one. If you want to sing Queen, then this is the release for you. All the classic songs are here, but let's face it, the only one you actually need is Don't Stop Me Now, which thankfully is on the list. Also, none of the trailers would download due to copyright, so this picture had to do. Human Fall Flat is the long-awaited release of a bit of a phenomenon. It's not quite Stardew Valley or Terraria or Minecraft, but this is a genuine low-key hit that originally released physically with Super Rare Games. After the digital success, it released in Japan a few months ago, and now there's a wider Western release. I'm sure a few people are pissed off at their Super Rare value just tanking, but it is what it is. It happens sometimes. At least more people can now play this physics-based sandbox world. And this is God of Resin's Pick of the Week. The Persistence is perhaps getting a physical release in North America this week. It's out in Europe already. This is a first-person, roguelike horror game, which sounds like a crazy mix, but apparently it works well. Definitely something a bit unique. Check out our review. Sayonara Wild Hearts looks to be getting a wider retail release after being limited to I Am 8-Bit website for like an eternity. This is a massively celebrated game that's supposedly playing through like a music album. I've got to be honest, I don't know what it's all about, but I definitely want to pick this up at some point if I can find it available. And Dane Wilkinson has chosen this as his pick of the week. Alright, low print, special reserve games and limited run are teaming up once again to offer a double helping of the same game. Not only that, but a double helping of 2 different games. 2 games, 4 variants in total. First up, we have Crossing Souls going up for order on the 29th. This is a multi-genre style game, I think. That's what I gathered from watching the trailer. Bit of puzzle, bit of beat 'em up, bit of platforming. It's wearing its 80s heart on its sleeve, that's for sure. There's 2 versions going up for order this week. Special Reserve have their version and Limited Run have their distribution variant with their own cover style. Which one are you going for? And Gannicus has chosen this as their pick of the week. Then we have Swords of Ditto, also being sold on the 29th, possibly the least interesting digital Devolver game. This is supposedly a half-decent attempt at a roguelike action RPG, which are 10 a penny these days. But, with this bright, colourful art style, I can see this winning over a lot of people. It's reminding me of Futurama or something in the colouring and the style. Anyways, just like Crossing Souls, you got 2 versions, Limited Run and Special Reserve, each have their cover variants. Darius Cosmic Revelation from Strictly Limited Games is the follow-up to Darius Cosmic Collection. I think it's safe to say that this isn't exactly as impressive as the first release, as it only contains 2 games, both 3D in construction. Supposedly pretty decent. I'm not the biggest expert on this series, but that's because I'm an uncultured fan of shooters. It is pricey, but you always have to pay for these kind of games. And this is Brent McLean's Pick of the Week. Alright, let's jump into the imports this week. Just remember that if any take your fancy and you'd like to import them for yourself, then there are import links below in the description and the pinned comment. If you use those links, then it helps support this little series massively. You have no idea, and it wouldn't be what it is without you guys. So thank you ever so much for using our links. Plus, in return, if when checking out you use the coupon code SwitchWatchTV on PlayAsia, when checking out SwitchWatchTV, you can get a very nice 5% off your order. But if I could just ask another extra favor, just before last week's episode went live, we got confirmation that we had already passed PlayAsia's requirements to keep the discount code again for 2 more months. So if you could help us out and save any orders until October 1st, that would give us a nice little boost at the start when the counter resets kind of thing. It's a strange request, but it really would help us out, so thank you ever so much. Now, last week I somehow missed a biggie. Yep, I missed Ikaruga, the classic shmup that released physically in Japan last week. Not my fault, as it seems Nicholas, the publisher of the Western release, is trying their best to erase everyone's memory of this Japanese one. The Western release is due for late October, but the Japanese release is available now. If you can find anywhere that's selling it, it's a classic. I've been waiting a long time for this one, so I'll definitely have to pick it up, although the price is quite eye-watering right now here in China. Ys Origin may be the least necessary import of the year, but it's one that I'm gonna get for sure. Ys Origin is releasing in North America with limited run, in Europe with a retail release, and special release with strictly limited. So there's not much need to import for like most people, but you've got to take into account one thing: the cover art. I've been thoroughly unimpressed with the European offerings, and limited runs is just kind of so-so. But the Asian release, available via PlayAsia, is just easily the best by far. There's a Japanese release too, which, isn't too bad either, but the Asian release is 100% the one that I'm going for. If you don't know what Ys Origin is, it's a slightly different take on the series, going for a more straightforward dungeon crawling, hack and slash kind of thing, but I know many people think very highly of this one, and I will definitely be picking it up. And this is Jonathan Rumor's Pick of the Week. GeoRifters is releasing physically a short time after the digital release. I reviewed this one for the channel, and despite the unappealing presentation, found it to be quite a fun time. An inventive action puzzle platformer for both single player and multiplayer. This release is exclusive to Asia, with no plans for anything in the West. It does have English too. Probably gonna be an obscure one, I would think, but one that I will be picking up at some point down the line. I'm always one to put my money where my mouth is. Alright, before we get into the community spotlight, last week I announced a bonus giveaway of 2 codes for GeoRifters. Yes, the game that is releasing physically this week in Asia. Well, the competition was over on Twitter, thank you for joining in, and chosen at random, the winners were Rick Krolbert and Raven Knight. Congratulations! Many thanks to Leofull for providing these codes for you. Don't forget to check out our review of GeoRifters to see what it's all about. It's surprisingly fun, and I think it's going to be a hidden gem on the Switch. Alright, let's jump into the Let's Get Physical community spotlight, where you show off your pickups. If you're featured, then at the end of this episode, you could be one of the winners. This is special thanks to the good people at Pixel Heart. They've allowed us to give away Super Trench Attack for September. Be sure to check out their website, pixelheart.eu, to have a nice look at their stuff. They've got a lot of stuff. They've announced a brand new release, Liberated. They also have games such as Tanuki Justice, Golden Force, Wallachia, amongst many others that are up for pre-order now. Some really nice titles. I'm excited. Alright, firstly is it time to show off my crabs? Of course it is. The time has come for the world to see the absolute beauty that is Fight Crab. This is a game that I reviewed last month when it released in Japan, but only recently did get a release in the West. This is a surprisingly good game that is equal parts wacky as it is a challenge to master. This has perhaps the most beautiful cover art that I've ever seen. I've joked about it, but seriously, stick this in an art museum. It's a masterpiece. I'd have bought this even if the game was crap, but thankfully it's pretty good if you want a very unique experience with laugh out loud moments. It's fun for 2 players together to take on all sorts of crustacean species with a surprising amount of weapons and fighters. You can also get a CD with it, which is fantastic because the music is also completely bonkers, and I wouldn't want it any other way. This only released physically in Japan and Asia, so if you want to import it for yourself, get this bad boy, then there are import links down below in the description. Alright, on to Eula. Mainly Joe got in a certain plumber's game, plus No Straight Roads, good to see that out and about. James Church gets MVP for importing the Atelier Dust Trilogy, one of the fantastic imports on the Switch. Exclusive to Play Asia, I believe they have a little bit of a discount going on at the time of writing this if you want to save a little bit of money for yourself. Derek Jenkins showed off the glorious Moero Crystal H, which is a game I picked up recently too, of course. I did a little unboxing of this on my personal channel if you're interested, alongside Murder by Numbers. Yikes Bike got in these. Great to see RX, and a game that I was pretty desperate to get a hold of since I missed the limited release way back in the day, but a kind viewer and executive producer, Brent McLean, sorted me out with a spare copy. Yikes Bikes also got in that Plumber Collection thing. Andrei Rienieski, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, got in a shooter that I desperately want, but desperately cannot afford. The import exclusive Esp Psi. An absolute belter, I am sure, and one that's going to be part of any shooter fan's collection. Rich Bergen got in these, including Skylanders, which I'm sure like 99% of people who own a Switch forgot that this existed on the system, including me. I totally forgot. Canuck got in these, going all Ancient Warriors on us here, with a double strategy helping of Ancestors Legacy and Immortal Realms. Also, Plumber Boy. Roran got in some really nice games. Mercenary Kings, one of Limited Run's very first Switch games, plus Iconoclast Switch is also one of their best. Mansfield Bear got in these games, looking forward to the hype of the sequel with the original Hyrule Warriors. Shoyu showed their culture with the fantastic Moero Crystal H limited edition from Play Asia. Love it. God of Resin went to the next level of culture, also by adding in a bad translation of Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, the great collector's edition. Sadly, I went with the standard one. Streaming on the corner got in some great games, Windjammers Baby, plus Ghostblade HD, a great shooter exclusive to Play Asia, has a standard edition, but there is a collector's edition, which is the one that I bought. I sent it to England though, I'm not sure why I did that. Anyways, it is a bit more expensive than their other titles, but that's because it comes with a steel book, which always ramps up the costs. Gonzo got in the fabulous looking collector's edition of Blazing Chrome from Limited Run. Love the style that they went for here, so fitting. Blackstar showed off their culture with a double helping of Moero, plus showing off the sexy ladies inside. Maybe worth a standard edition just for that alone. Tim got in some imports, many thanks for using our links and codes. 2 games including the fantastic Gundam G Generation Cross Rays, essential import in my opinion, and Road to Guangdong, the Asian release. This did not release in the US physically, so you may want to import it if you live there. Marcio Quintanero sent in 2 fantastic RPGs. Would honestly 100% recommend both of these, if you want some Japanese goodness. Bradera Cast got in some fine games, Gigantic Army, the European cover, Astral Chain, one of the best games on the system, period. Demix got in a double helping of Plumber Birthday Boy, along with a cheap-ass helmet. Very nice, and no wonder it's everywhere at that price. Yo Daddy is a big fan of the anime, so wanted to show off one of the Sword Art Online games. Not sure which one this is, but supposedly it's pretty decent. John F. Croddick, thank you ever so much for using our links and codes to import these games. Fight Crab, Atelier Dust Trilogy, and Moero, all legendary imports in my opinion. Thank you for your support. Steven665 waited a lifetime to get their delivery from Strictly Limited to Collector's Editions. Ultracore has to be the one that's most intriguing to me. Graham M sent in this photo of a fantastic looking No Straight Roads Collector's Edition. That's some fine artwork. Drumsticks are a nice little touch too, although I think I'd prefer some guitar plectrums. Corey Graham sent in Anniversary Boy plus De Blob, which is a fine little 3D platformer. I really enjoyed it on the Wii, and I got it again for the Switch for my birthday a couple of years ago, I think. Tommy Mayers picked up a couple of new obscure titles. The super obscure, like Mario 3D All-Stars. I mean, who's that guy? Pode, which I think is a European exclusive, and MX vs. ATV. Adamski sent in this variety of games with top quality all around. Nice to see Oceanhorn. I guess many don't show it off too often these days, as it was one of Limited Run's first distribution titles all those moons ago. Jumbo Skull got in 2 games, including the import of Mr. Driller, Drill Land. This is the Southeast Asian version for the Singapore area, so has English on the box art, which is nice. There are also Chinese and Japanese versions, all with English on the cartridge, or a code in a box if you're unfortunate to live in Europe. Legend of Hylia sent in this photo, which seems to be a mini shrine to Shantae among some other great indie games. Bruno Silva didn't have a game to show off, but he did get Joker Amiibo, which looks quality. They got in some great imports, including Ikaruga Collector's Edition from Japan, which includes a model kit for the ship. And it was actually this picture that they sent in that reminded me that I missed Ikaruga from last week, so thank you for that. Bunny Voidstrom sent in this funny photo for Murder by Numbers from Play Asia, as well as picking up these 4 games. Awesome. Chucks Taylor sent in this wide shot of some nice acquisitions, including the much sought after Disaster Report 4, and it's always nice to see Shmup Collection too. Boombox sent in this photo. I don't see that Scribble Notes double pack too often. 2 really fun games, although perhaps they were always best suited to the 3DS or DS in terms of the hardware. Certify sent in this photo showing off the much prized Japanese collector's edition of Stardew Valley, which has the much better cover art than the one that the West is going to be getting. Captain Slow got in 2 games, the super cheap Nippon Marathon, a funny racing game. They also got in the Japanese version of RPG Maker MV, which does play in English. Can't wait to see what masterpieces that you make. Executive producer Gannikus finally picked up the standard Switch after only having a Lite. He also got Birthday Boy with it over there. Invicta showed off the contents of Moero Crystal H. Very nice indeed. Shame it's sold out already. I think a lot of people missed out on this one. Park Ranger picked up Freedom Finger from Super Rare alongside Load Runner from Strictly Limited. I can't believe that it's only just being sent out, right? Is that right? It seems like it's been forever since Load Runner went on sale. Joel Parker also picked up Freedom Finger from Super Rare. This sold out really quickly, but you can still get it from their 3-pack bundle if you really need it. It's Rain time. Rain got in the almost mythical Buried Stars, the Korean exclusive, plus the Artist Edition of Pode, and a First Press Games double helping, a Whole New World Limited Edition, and Shadow Bug. Yandere-kun got in one of my favorite hidden gems on the Switch, Dusk Diver, a nice little collector's edition from Japan. Neverburst sent in this massive collector's box for a Japanese release of one of the Atelier games. In all honesty, I'm not exactly sure which one it is. Robert sent in this picture, of course, Helmet, of course, but also picks and loves absolutely gorgeous Samurai Showdown collector's edition, which includes Samurai Showdown 2, the Neo Geo Pocket game, one of the prides of my collection. Retro Boy picked up these games, including the new Midget Wrestling Simulator, plus my pick, Dragon's Dogma, which is always great to have portably on the Switch. Lucas Lees sent in this mini eye dazzler of a nice variety of action games to show. Onimusha is a fantastic little import. Anaheim Rookie sent in these games with a nice horror twist, which is apt for the coming month. They managed to find Outlast, which ain't cheap these days, plus Remothered and Little Nightmares. Raven Knight finally got in their Van Brace collection from Game Fairy. I really do wonder what happened with those guys. They announced 2 games like over a year ago, and nothing since. Maybe sales weren't as good as they thought? JP sent in this photo with the star of the show, Fight Crab, together with the soundtrack. Very nice indeed. This may be one of my favorite imports of the year, not because of the quality, but just because, it's Fight Crab. Paul Atkins also got in on the action with Fight Crab and some low print games and imports. Dungreed is a good import if you don't want to wait for Nicholas, plus it has English if you download the update. And finally, to round off the show, we have some Plumber Dude who seems to be getting around these days, as well as Minecraft Dungeons, which, as a kind viewer pointed out last week, only the DLC is needed to be downloaded. The main game is fine. Alright, thanks ladies and gents, always fantastic to see what you've got. Please send me your pictures over on Twitter at SoWhatAboutGame. You can DM me, or you can tag me in a post and use the hashtag Let's Get Physical, and I'll give you a nice little retweet. Plus, you can email it into us if you want to at contactors@switchwatch.co.uk. Just make sure you start the email title with Community Spotlight so I don't miss that. Plus, we have a Discord where you can send your pictures there in the submission section. Plus, when you're not submitting photos, you can have a nice little chat with us too. The Discord link is below in the description. Right, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to check the winner of this month's Let's Get Physical giveaway. Here are all your names on screen right now. We're going to spin the wheel and see who the winner is. Congratulations! I'm recording this ahead of time, so I don't actually know who the winner is as I'm narrating this, but if your name is on the screen right now, then please get in touch via the same method you submitted your picture, whether it's Twitter, email, or Discord, and then we'll sort you out with Super Trench Attack. Right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of New Physical. Special thanks to our executive producers, Dane Wilkinson, God of Resin, Brent McLean, Jonathan Rumor, Gannikus, and all the others who joined our memberships. We really appreciate it, guys. Check out last week's episode in case you missed it. Please do that, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.